What's going on, family? Shalom, good morning, good morning. I know it's early in the morning, and I'm pretty certain the family's all asleep right now. I know your brother Priest Dan be up early in the morning, traveling, going to work, as always. Benjamin style, Baba Million job. uh, and I've done road rage in a while, so, people ain't checking for road rage like they used to because I stopped doing it consistently. It's all good. But I said I would drive and I would talk to the people, and some of you guys can catch this on the replay. You guys can catch this on the replay when you guys wake up. Oh, my man is in the building. My man is always in the building. Shalom, Deacon. What's going on? The week Deacon Tawab Aman, saints of congregation of saints, camp in the building. All praise to the Most High, my brother. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Just taking a little stroll to work and stuff like that. So I said I would come on. A little loud, right? So let me go ahead and shut the window. Maybe I'll turn on a little bit of the AC so I'm not suffocating in here, but I want you guys to be able to hear me, of course. So let me just turn on a little AC real quick. Let me tell y'all about this block right here, man. People be walking in the, I could kind of get it. People be walking like in the middle of the street this time of the morning, so you got to creep around these corners because they be like in the middle of the street. And you can't really see around the corner too much. You definitely don't want to hit anybody. So, oh snap! Deacon Tawaman, all right, one of the elders of Congregation of Saints, said he used to be with Geno Jennings. How interesting! Wow, didn't know that. That's interesting. Okay. Well, we give all praise, honor, glory to the Most High for allowing you to wake up and see the truth. All praise to the Most High for that. Because you could have still been in that. He still could have been in that. So, all praise to the Most High for you waking up and knowing the truth. So, I'll give it a minute before I start talking about these Christians. I'll give it a minute or two. Maybe one or two other people will come. I know it's early, so But in the meantime, we can definitely talk about what's going on in the world, right? Nothing has changed from the stuff that I used to tell you, brothers and sisters, for the last 2.5 going on 3 years. Nothing has changed, right? You guys can already see what's happening. If you're paying attention to the news, and as Israelites, we should be paying attention to the news. We should be paying attention to what's going on. You guys can clearly see that probably 1 second. I'm not home. I'm coming from somewhere else, and sometimes I get what the turn is that I'm supposed to make. Okay, yeah, I'm on the right path. Full praise. So you guys see what's happening and going on with the news and stuff like that, right? So you brothers and sisters have to be very cognizant of these spikes and rises in the sickness. I'll say the sickness because quiet is kept. YouTube now, the algorithm is sophisticated. I did a video, my last road rage that I did. I don't even know what I said. I really don't even know what I said. But of course, YouTube hit me. They took the video down and they hit me for what I said. So the English lexicon is limited on YouTube now. You can't say certain words, right? So I got a long email from YouTube, which of course is automated. And I got chastised for something that I said, which I don't think I said anything crazy. I'm very careful about what I say. So I have to be more careful. So we'll just call it a sickness. Can we use the word sickness nowadays? Can we use that? Let's use the word sickness. Let's call it that, right? So usually the way this particular sickness, the family or the category that the sickness falls into, usually these things thrive in the fall and the winter, not in the spring and the summer, right? That's the way that family of sickness, hopefully that I can use that term, that's the way that usually works. And I find it ironic that the numbers are soaring in the summer, right? And to me, they're preparing us for a very, very active fall and winter, right? Sleepy Creepy, he's talking about possibly another national emergency. The last time there was a national emergency, when Orange 45 was president, the last time there was a national emergency, they shut down, right? And then one of the prerequisites to opening stuff back up, you had to get pinched. See, we could be creative words. You had to get pinched, right? Okay. So we kind of see the same pattern happening again. We just have to be mindful and cognizant of what's happening. Mindful, cognizant of what's happening, and pay attention to what's going on. You know, it's changed from last year or the last couple of years. Just make sure you brothers and sisters continue to be healthy, man. Continue to eat healthy. Continue to eat stuff and natural remedies that boost your immune system, right? That optimize your immune system, right? Make sure that your food is also your medicine as well. Make sure your food is also your medicine as well. Be sure to flush and cleanse and do all those things that you know to do. Just make sure you're constantly doing that stuff. Don't let it be just because it seems as though nothing is happening right now. Nothing is happening, because something is definitely going on, and they're preparing us for something. So just be cognizant of that, brothers and sisters, if you could. So I'm up early. I'm not home, as you guys can see. I'm driving a completely different way, and people are out here being reckless at 4 o'clock in the morning, driving reckless. This is New York, New Jersey. So MFers don't know how to act. Hey, just random stuff. So when I be in the South, I could always tell, when you go to places like Atlanta, right? When you go to places like Miami, it's a large population of New Yorkers that have left the North and moved to Georgia and moved to Florida and moved to Texas. And you know how you could tell? The way MFers drive down there, man. When I'm in Atlanta, I feel like I'm in New York because there's so many New York people down there, and people just be driving reckless as a mofo down there as well. And in Miami, I was in Miami, and the way people were driving, you could definitely tell that those are all ex-New Yorkers, man. That's how it is here. 24 hours a day, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, people are on the roads just being reckless for no reason. Cutting you off on the road and everything, and there's no traffic out here. Why you cut me off? Just being simple, you know? But anyway, that was random. That has nothing to do with it. Let's talk about these Christians, man. Let's talk about these Christians. While I'm on my way to the gym early in the morning, let's go ahead and talk about these Christians, right? So y'all see the title of the room. The Christians are feeling the heat because they're feeling the heat. They are. So as some of y'all know, I'm on Clubhouse, right? I'm on the Clubhouse app. Clubhouse can definitely be a place where if you don't go into Clubhouse with certain expectations and a certain mindset, that thing could burn you out, right? So I was warned about the app before I even got on there. And so when I went on there, I didn't really have high expectations in terms of the people I was going to deal with. To me, being at Clubhouse is similar to being at camp. Obviously, you're not in the highways and the byways, but you have people from all over the world coming into these rooms, scoffers, like all the same stuff that you would experience on the street. The only difference is it's on the app. That's all. Anybody could come to the stage. Anybody could come into the room and do the same things and use the same antics that they use in the streets. The only difference is it's not in person. People will even threaten you on the app. That's a new thing too on social media. People that you never met, you probably will never meet in life, want to tell you all the stuff that they're going to do to you. It's the same stuff. But one of the things that I notice about these Christians is the Christians are really feeling the heat bad, because I have encountered, over the last 2 to 3 months, a bunch of Christians. Number one, being a guy by the name of Ghetto President, right? If you ain't on Clubhouse, man, you don't even know what I'm talking about. This guy right here, man, this guy right here, I don't even have words. The man The man, and he's not the only one that says it, but this guy says it every time he comes into the room. The man says his life's mission is to destroy Israelites, particularly One West Israelites. That's what he said. That's what he said. That is his life's mission. That means he wakes up thinking about us. He thinks about us all day and thinks about us before he goes to sleep. Not just Israelites, but One West Israelites. The man further goes on to say that he has a group of quote unquote Christian apologists, right? That he has gathered to come against Israelites, specifically One West Israelites, and to destroy us. Yesterday, this man came into the room and told us that the number one criteria to be a part of his group that is supposed to destroy One West Israelites is you must hate us. The number one criteria for you to be a part of his group is he wants people that think like him and hate us just as much as he hates us. That's the criteria. That's what's going on in your Christian church. That's how they feel. That's why you have this Jude 3 project. Here it is. Christians didn't give a good goddamn, at least as long as I've been the truth. Christians didn't give a good goddamn about identity, about people who in the Bible were actually black and all this stuff. They didn't give a damn. They said our identity is in Jesus. That's what they was teaching for the longest time. And the Israelites were telling them that no, identity matters. Identity matters. The number one reason why identity matters is because here's the thing. When you read Hebrews, the 8th chapter, the Bible paraphrases in the book of Hebrews concerning the new covenant, right? It is a paraphrase, and that's important. It is not the full scope of the new covenant. It is a paraphrase. Why is that important? Because there's certain verbiage that is very relevant and cognizant. I shouldn't say cognizant, sorry, wrong word. There's certain verbiage that's very relevant and pertinent to the new covenant that's not mentioned in Hebrews chapter 8. And so if you want the full scope of what the new covenant entails, you have to go back and read the prophecy. The intent in the book of Hebrews chapter 8 was not to quote, I could see the parking lot is empty. Your brother priest is the second person here at the gym this morning. That's how I give it up, yo. That's how I give it up. I got a few emails from some of you brothers saying that y'all want to work out with me. You definitely welcome to come work out with me. But here's I'm deviating just for a second. We're gonna get back on them Christians. I'm deviating for a second. Number one rule, if you want to come work out with me, I'm here at 5 in the morning. So if you want to come work out with me, you gotta come work out at 5 in the morning, right? That's number one. And I don't go easy. We're gonna go heavy. I got to tell y'all that we're going to go heavy. You know what I'm saying? Especially on legs. So all you brothers that be, you know what I'm saying, cream puff, you know, you fucking, your upper body, you know what I'm saying, is big and you're strong, but when it comes to legs, man, you like cream puff, man, like a cupcake. You do them cupcake workouts. I'm not the guy for you. I'm just letting you know now. All right? I'm just saying. So you want to come work out, we don't do cupcake workouts just because it's 5 in the morning. We do legs and we hit them hard. All right, so I just wanted to say that. Think about it before you send me the email, and I do legs three days a week. Right? Okay. Back to what I was talking about, right? Got distracted just for a second. I'm here. What time is it? Still got 30 minutes. Okay, cool. So the verbiage in the New Testament in the book of Hebrews, basically a summary of the covenant, but there's certain verbiage that's important that you have to go back to Jeremiah to get. I always tell people that. And one of the things that's very important in Jeremiah that's not mentioned in Hebrews is who the new covenant is for, right? It mentions Judah and it mentions Israel, both in Jeremiah and Hebrews. But the Christians have remixed that and says Judah and Israel represents the new church. They have this whole thing with replacement theology that they try to use. However, that only works And it doesn't really work in the book of Hebrews, but you can make that argument in Hebrews and you'll get some dumb people to believe you. When you go back and read the actual prophecy in the book of Jeremiah, it says the seed of Israel. Now we're having a different conversation. Now you can't use replacement theology anymore, right? Now you can't replace Israel with the church. Now you can't be simple and say this is talking about spiritual Israel. See, you didn't read Romans 2, right? It's not he who is a Jew outwardly, but one inwardly. See, the Lord is dealing with spiritual Israel. That's who the new covenant is for. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Because when you go back and you read Jeremiah chapter 31, the Most High says, as long as the sun, moon, and stars are there, the Most High will always have that covenant with the seed of Israel. I'm paraphrasing, but y'all know what it is. That's why it's important always when you're reading the New Testament, especially the epistles and Hebrews, to go back and read the actual quotes in the Old Testament, because that takes all the oxygen out of their argument. So as I was saying, the church was not concerned with identity, but as I just mentioned, identity is important because the new covenant in the book of Jeremiah identifies itself with aligns itself, attaches itself to the seed of Israel, the seed of Judah, the seed of Israel. That's who the Lord is dealing with. That's who the Most High is going to renew the covenant with, right? Because that word new just means chadash. Chadash in the Hebrew just means like to renew, right? So when the Most High speaks about a new moon, it's chadash. It's a cycle. It goes through a cycle, or it is refreshed. The same thing when the Most High said he's going to give us, return to us a new or pure tongue. That word, I believe there's kadash as well, right? So, argument that the Christians make about identity now has become important because so many people are leaving the church. And mainly a lot of people are leaving the church for two places, either into quote unquote traditional African spirituality, right? Like getting into all that West African stuff comes from Ghana, right? And beautiful Richard Deacon, all praises. They're getting into that traditional African spirituality, or they're coming into the Israelite movement. That's what they're doing. And so the churches are losing and hemorrhaging members. At first, it was just the men. I remember when I first came into Israel, right? It was mainly men. Like when you talk about the old school at One West, right? When you talk about the old school, man, the sister side, did it even have 20 chairs over there? Brothers that was back in the old school will be able to tell y'all. You know what I'm saying? If you know somebody from the old school, they'll be able to tell y'all. I don't think there was 20 chairs on the side of the room. That's how few sisters were actually in the school. I'm talking about in the early and mid 90s. There was like hardly any sisters in the. Now you have camps that have more women than men. I see it. Sometimes I see camps and I'm like, dang, there's not enough brothers in there to go around for the sisters. You know what I'm about? So things have shifted and things have changed. And so what's happening now is the Christians are becoming desperate. The heat is the white hot spotlight is on them. Now they have to explain theology. Now they have to explain scriptures like about the nations going into slavery, the new covenant only being promised to Israel, etc., 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 Christ being black, right? And all these other things, they have to explain these things and they don't have an explanation. So as a result, now the Christians are getting desperate. They're coming on apps like Clubhouse and they're threatening brothers and all this other stuff they're trying to do. Coming up with these terms that the Israelites are violent, they beat their women, and all this crazy stuff that they're saying because they're desperate. And like I said, one particular guy on Clubhouse, and he has a crew, he comes and says that his life's mission is to destroy us. And that kind of reminds me of the book of Acts when these guys took an oath out against the Apostle Paul, right, to destroy him because they didn't like what he was teaching. And these guys took out a freaking oath. You know what I'm saying? And these Christians are doing the same thing, right? You have another clown who I'm not going to get absolutely no, I'm not even going to name, just a straight clown. This guy has a room every single night on Clubhouse. Every single night. He probably comes on about 10 o'clock at night, right? And then in the morning, how I know that he's on all night, because obviously I get up early in the morning, as you guys can see. I get up and I'll go through the hallways on Clubhouse, and I see he has a room. And literally every night he has a room on the Israelites. Every night for the past year. Because I've been on Clubhouse almost a year. Like for the past year, he's had a room on the Israelites. And what these dummies do is they go into his room, and he calls himself taking a particular teaching that we might have, specifically one West Israelites that we might have, and then trying to give these guys ammunition on how to answer us, but he fails every time. Because every time these guys come into the room, see, what these guys don't know is I also have a burner account on Clubhouse too. So I'm able to sit in the audience and listen to him instruct y'all on question us. And he always, always, always fails, because what he says and the way he says that we're going to answer is not always the way that we answer. See, we understand that you Christians have been taking such a beating for so long that you guys have had all these seminars and stuff like that, and you guys have put together, quote unquote, that the Christians like to mock us and say that we have what's called a precept package, right? And we laugh at it, but they're kind of telling us something that Israelites need to pay attention to. What they're telling us is that they've been studying us, right? And they know the scriptures that we're going to use when we come up to a particular subject, whatever the subject might be. Like if we're going to say that Christ only came for Israel, right? They already know that we're going to go to Matthew chapter 15, verse 24, where Christ said, I'm only sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. They already know that, right? So they call it jokingly amongst themselves, we have a precept package, as though every Israelite is going to give the same answer. So what we've been doing is that we've been actually going to other scriptures that they don't expect us to go to. That's what we've been doing. And they're not prepared for the way that we answer the question, so they wind up getting destroyed on stage. And it happens day in and day out. We have the same cast of characters that keep coming into these rooms on Clubhouse and keep arguing with us and keep getting destroyed. And then they go back to the room and they ask their questions of this particular idiot, right? To tell them, well, this is how you answer that. They come back and they get destroyed again. Because the Bible is clear. The Bible is very, very clear. Okay? There is no getting around the fact that the new covenant is with Israel, and the seed of Israel, to be specific. There is no place for the other nations in the new covenant. The new covenant was not promised to them. It does not include them, and they can't get around. There's nowhere you can go in Romans or Galatians or Ephesians or anywhere else. There's nowhere you can go in those books and try to use them to fit Gentiles into the new covenant, when clearly the new covenant is promised to Judah and Israel. And in the book of Isaiah, when it says that certain strangers will come and join the covenant, those are Israelites too. Why? Because the covenants are with Judah and Israel. That's it. It's simple. It's not hard. It's simple, and it's not very, very hard. Okay? I would encourage brothers and sisters to continue keeping your foot on your neck and keep the pressure, right? Also, too, that the Christians have been doing, but we're just not allowing them to do it, right? You're not going to use Bible against Bible. That's what that's. For instance, let's just go back to Matthew 15, verse 24, right? We read that clearly. That's Christ, Yahushua, making a statement he only came for Israel. The Christians will try to go to something that's written in the epistles of Paul, try to use the Bible to debunk the Bible. That's bad theology. The Bible is not supposed to debunk the Bible. The Bible is not supposed to contradict itself. If you have that issue, you're in error. The Bible is not in error. You're in error, right? Your understanding of the Bible should harmonize, meaning whatever the Apostle Paul is teaching is supposed to match what Christ is teaching, what Christ taught. That's the way it's supposed to work. That's why in Romans chapter 11, Paul said, "Followers of me, what? As I am of Christ, of Yahushua." Whatever Paul is teaching or saying in his epistles must line up with what Christ said. And watch this, it also should line up with what the law says, what the Old Testament said. It should harmonize from cover to cover. If your theology is that what Paul wrote is different than what Christ said, that's number one. Number two, something else that I've personally been putting pressure on these Christians with is this: the Bible has to really be understood the way that it was originally intended to be understood, right? Now, if you guys have been in my Sabbath classes, you guys know I've been going over this a lot. For those of y'all that's not aware, I'm still on YouTube. I'm still doing my thing. But I haven't been active on this channel per se as much. But you guys are more than welcome every Saturday at 10:30 to come over to our Sabbath class page, which is Lions of Israel class. Lions of Israel class. Just put that in search on YouTube. The channel will come up. You guys can go over there and subscribe, and you guys can just come in every Saturday at 10:30. All the Sabbath classes that I've been doing have been doing this over there, right? I did actually do a lesson really last Thursday on both platforms, but I've mainly been over there. I'm saying building up that platform over there and doing my classes over there. But I will be back on the channel a little more active coming this fall, right? But back to what I was saying. We have to understand the Bible in the way that it was originally intended. And what I mean by that, and this is very, very important, right? There's a particular other individual that comes in the rooms, and he doesn't believe in the Bible. I want to show you guys how messed up our people are. If you're in my house, you haven't hit the like button, repent, believe the gospel. Right, let's get the algorithm going. So just hit the like button if y'all could. I would appreciate it. It's not for me. It's just that there might be other people that want to come in and listen and be edified, whatever. So just hit the like button if you could. I appreciate it. Doesn't mean you like me. I always tell y'all that. Doesn't mean that you like me. It's just that you're sharing. Sharing is caring. That's what they say, right? Okay. Now, one of the things I said I've been, putting a lot of pressure on the Christians for specifically is you're not going to stratify the Bible or separate the Bible. All right. Now, for those who don't know, I say it, right? The Bible was separated into chapters and verses in the English version in the year 1560. 1560, right? The English version, 1560. Why is that important? The reason why that's important is because it has both a positive and, in some cases, a negative effect on doctrine and theology. It has a positive and negative effect. Here's the positive, right? The fact that the Bible is separated into chapters and verses make it easier for us to find, verses that we want to use, right? We want to teach. So it makes it easier for us to find it because we remember the book, chapter, and the verse because it's separated that way. So it gets locked. You go to that book, chapter, and verse enough, it starts to get seeped into your memory where it's easy for you to find it. So that's the positive of the Bible being separated into chapters and verses. That's the good part, right? The bad part about the Bible being separated into chapters and verses is now you introduce a door for bad theology and doctrines to come in. So there's another individual. I'll give you a perfect example. There's another individual, right, on Clubhouse that came into the room. This guy doesn't believe in the Bible at all, right? He's into Greek philosophy. Literally, he's into Greek philosophy. He believes in, he idolizes the Greek. And yes, this is a black man. He idolizes the Greeks, right? The Greeks were the greatest thing to ever happen. They introduced, a way of collating history that was never done before. And they had all this great philosophy and blah, 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 blah. It's a black man now who idolizes white Greeks. And he comes into the room every day. Okay. So what's been happening is that we've been chopping him just in the history. Just in the history alone. He doesn't see when we start talking about this is what it got so bad for him, right? That now he only accepts the Greeks up until Alexander's four generals. That's it. So he accepts the history of like Philip of Macedonia, Alexander, and the four generals. He doesn't even identify with the sons that came after from these guys because of how bad it gets in history when we start just going into history. Start reading about the pederasty, the pedophilia, the homosexuality, those other stuff that these guys was doing. Now you don't want to deal with that. As though Alexander wasn't doing that stuff too, right? They say Alexander died of, there's a lot of different rumors. Some people say he died of syphilis and everything. I wonder how that happened, if that's true. He died of some disease. Wonder how that happened. Wonder what he was doing. You can use your imagination on that, right? So getting back to the conversation, right? So he believes in all this Greek philosophy, right? Because he loves white people. He says that, there's nothing productive about black people, speaking about what white people did a couple of hundred years ago. He'll never go in a room among so-called Jews and tell them there's nothing productive about TV shows on arts and entertainment, A&E, and only in the History Channel, while I'm watching them hunting down Nazis like 75 years after World War II ended. They're still hunting down Nazis. See, nobody tells the small hats that. Nobody says that to them. But black people tell black people we don't need to know our history, whatever like that. So we were just wiping the floor with this guy with history because he doesn't believe in the Bible. So what this knucklehead Negro does now is he joins in with the Christians. That's what he did. Now he goes on Clubhouse and jumps in these Christian rooms where they're plotting on Israelites, coming up with their false doctrines or whatever, call themselves debunking us. This guy that does not believe in the Bible jumps in the Christian rooms, takes their arguments, and then comes to our rooms and uses their arguments against us like a dummy, right? You don't believe in the Bible. You haven't even read the Bible. All you know is them 3 verses that you heard in that Christian room. That's all you know. And you come in the room arguing with us. And this is what I told them. I said, part of the problem is when they separate the Bible into chapters and verses, you know what I'm saying? That brings bad theology. And since you don't know the Bible, you fell for that. Because the specific scripture that he pulled was 1 Corinthians chapter 9, I believe it's verses 18 to 21, somewhere around there. I'm not looking at it. Somewhere around there, right? Where Paul speaks about, to the Jews, I became like the Jews, and to those without the law, I became like those without the law. And he was trying to say, see, this is talking about the other nations. Right? And you got the dumb Christians that was giving them a seal clap. Yeah, that's right. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that was great, brother. No, you're wrong. You're wrong. Who was the audience that Paul is talking to in Corinth? He told me it was Gentiles. Paul was speaking to Gentiles because this is in Corinth, and Corinth is in Greece, right? So then I started asking them questions. Just you know about this whole Greek thing. You say you're a Greek, so let's deal with some history. Hey brother, did Alexander, when he came into Jerusalem, did the Jews join Alexander's army? Yes or no? Crickets. So then I show him the source. When Alexander came to Jerusalem, you had a lot of Israelites that joined his army. This is before Antiochus, way before. You didn't know that? Now you know, right? You had a lot of Jews that voluntarily Hellenized. At first, when they joined Alexander's army, they were keeping their laws. But as the years went by and the generations went by, some of these guys Hellenized. And they settled in other areas outside of Jerusalem, them and their families, and they integrated into Greek society. These are facts. Now he got crickets. Then you read about Antiochus himself in the Apocrypha. You read about him forcibly Hellenizing the Jews that did not voluntarily themselves. This is before the Corinth that I read about in the Bible. Because the Corinth that we're reading about in the Bible is during what period? It's Roman Corinth. That's after the Greeks. See, first thing is first, you can't read the Bible like a religious book. That's your problem. Believe in the Bible. Then when you read the Bible, you don't know how, because you got to be taught. That's what the book of Romans 10 says. You have to be taught. You have to have somebody that's qualified to teach you. You got to put the book of Corinthians in the Bible in its right historical time frame. It's not during the time of Alexander. It's not during the time of his 4 generals. It's not during the time of Antiochus. It is when the Romans were ruling, which is later. By that time, you had generations of Israelites that were scattered all over the place, including Corinth. So you can't look at where Corinth is on a map and tell us that it had to be Gentiles because it's in Corinth, because you don't know history, dummy. Then when you read the book of Acts chapter 2, how do you know the Jews were scattered? Because they all came back to Jerusalem for the Feast of Pentecost from everywhere. Just dumb as they want to be. But anyway, let's get back to what I was talking about, because my time is almost up. I'm about to go inside the gym here. So what he did was he went into a Christian room and listened to that bullshit that they were talking about, that Corinth had to be Gentiles because it's in Corinth. That was dumb. We done debunked that, right? Then you're saying, well, I mean, these are Gentiles. Okay. So what scripture you pulling, brother? So he's pulling 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 18 to 21. I believe those are the verses he pulled, right? So I asked him, I said, okay, can we keep reading into the chapter 10? Can we continue reading from the verse you want, but we want to keep reading past 21 to chapter 10. That way, I can take myself out the equation. You can take yourself out the equation. And we're going to let the Bible tell us who Paul is talking to. Is he talking to Gentiles or Israelites? Why don't you take yourself out the equation, and I'll do the same, and let's read into chapter 10 where everything will be cleared up. He didn't want to do that. He did not want to do that. No, I want to stay right here. Okay, we can read what you want. I'm not denying you that. But I want to keep reading, because you see, brother, at one point, chapter 9 was not separated from chapter 10 because it's a letter. Letters have chapters and verses. That's modern convenience. So we need to read into chapter 10 so that we can settle this argument about who Paul is talking to in Corinth. Because we know, and I'm paraphrasing, that when you read 1 Corinthians chapter 10, it says, our fathers passed through the sea with Moses. Was that everybody, or was that just Israel? And the strangers that left Egypt with us. That was the Israelites. That was the Israelites. The strangers that went into the wilderness, they were destroyed. They were wiped out. That was the Israelites. And it says that they were baptized unto Moses. That's the Israelites. Paul is talking to the church at Corinth, and he said, our fathers. Who are our fathers? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's the audience. The audience of Corinth is the people who are the descendants, children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Who is that? That's the Israelites. That's who Paul is talking to in chapter 9. He identifies his audience in chapter 10. So you had some Jews that were in Corinth that still kept the commandments. You had that. Even though a lot of those synagogues that were in the diaspora, a lot of them were going off, like when you read extra biblical sources, a lot of those synagogues, they were going off, they were kind of integrating Greek philosophy into stuff like that's why Paul would have to go, when he would be on his missions, he'd have to go into these synagogues and contend with them because some of these guys were off. But they were still, for the most part, keeping the Mosaic law, right? And then you had other Israelites that were keeping the law, they were the Greeks. But all the people that Paul was talking to were Israelites, whether they were law keepers or they were into paganism. It's all Israelites. How we know that's true is by reading from verse 18 in 1 Corinthians chapter 9, reading from verse 18 to the end, and then starting off reading chapter 10. Chapter 10 identifies who the audience is, and that's the point. And that's the BS that we be dealing with on this app. Everybody. And it's another thing too. There's a lot of strange alliances that go on Clubhouse as well. I noticed the Christians are real cozy and real friendly with people that don't believe in the Bible. I'm seeing my man Garfield in rooms with Christians and stuff like that. He don't even believe in the Bible. And they're siding with him against Israelites. And I'm like, what the French toast is this? You know, what the hell is going on here? They hate us so much. So much that you'll side with somebody that doesn't believe in the Bible just to go against the Israelites. That's something, y'all. Ain't that something? How could you say you love the Lord, but you'll side with somebody that hates the Bible just because they're going against the Israelites? Wouldn't it be neutral? Wouldn't it be? Even I had enough integrity when Jabari debated Dr. Bantu to be rooting for Dr. Why? Because I don't agree with Dr. Bantu on nothing, but he believes in the Bible. And they were trying to put the Bible on trial. You understand? So my loyalty is to the scriptures. So I had a sense to want Bantu to defeat Jabari. But not the Christians. Not the Christians. Not at all. Not at all. They will somebody that hates the Bible, tells you the Bible is fake, tells you the Bible didn't exist. They will side with them just to go against us because they're feeling the heat. They can't win the fight by themselves. They can't win the fight by themselves. These Christians done joined up with Satan and done all types of stuff to come against us. And it fails every time because God is not with them. I'm telling you straight. God is with them. The Lord is with us. And that's why so many people have made it their mission to try to destroy us. I'm seeing that Garfield is doing video after video after video after video about his debate with Gorilla Hebrew. Just video after video after video after video. I'm saying another person has made it their life mission to try to destroy the Israelites. And it doesn't. When will you guys realize it doesn't work? Didn't Polite have that same mindset? Where is he now? Didn't Seti have that same mindset? Where is he now? Didn't Shaka have the same mindset? Where is he now? Where are all these people that were supposed to destroy the Israelite movement? Where are they? They've all come to know it, like the book of Acts says. If this counsel be of the man, it will come to nothing. But if it be of God, you know what I'm saying? It cannot be overthrown unless you be found yourself to be happily fighting against God. I know I totally butchered that, but y'all know what I'm talking about. I ain't got my Bible open right now. I'm just talking. Y'all know exactly what I'm saying. You fighting against God by fighting against what it is that we teach. That's the bottom line. Because we teach the scriptures as it is written, right? And that's what it is. So, yeah, Christians feel the heat. I give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High for that. And they're going to keep feeling the heat because we're going to keep applying pressure to these Christians, right? You know, that's just it. And, you know, another thing, too, real quick before I go, somebody, I posted it because I'm going to be in Detroit next month, right? I'm going to be in Detroit next month. More on that later. But they tagged a pastor in the post on Facebook as that was. I don't know what that was supposed to do. They tagged the pastor. See, if a Christian comes up, as long as the conversation is civil, we're not going to cry because you come and you talk about you want to talk to us. We're not going to cry. As long as the conversation is civil. Christians do it all the time. You crying because people are confronting you Christians. You guys are crying about that. Listen, how many Christians come and confront us when we're at camp? How many? Don't cry about it. Christians are bought. Listen, where we teach on the street, right? Christians don't come out when it's warm. I mean, when it's cold. They don't come outside when it's cold. But when it's warm, the Christians come out there, and they come out there. They absolutely will invest all the time money that they're stealing, because they are stealing the time money. They'll invest all their time money in the loudest microphone and speaker that they can find to drown us out in the streets. They're not consistent in coming out. You know, when it's cold, the weather dips below 65 degrees, the Christians are not going to be out in the streets teaching at all. But they come out there to drown us out. Sometimes they'll come and stand in front of the camp and all that stuff like that and scoff and do all that other stuff, and we deal with it. We take the challenge head on, and we deal with it. Soon as the Christians get confronted, they start crying and whining. We take it as a challenge. It's a challenge that we're going to be victorious, because my question will always be the same. Always be the same. Prove to me that the new covenant covers non-Israelites. Prove to me that non-Israelites, people that are not from the seed of Israel, are a part of the new covenant. That's all. Let's leave it there. And just watch them fumbling. But, well, hey, brother, let's go to Romans. Let's go to Galatians. Yeah, go there, because it's not going to say. First of all, the word new covenant won't be there. That's a failure right there. But go ahead and go get that scripture. And another thing, and I'm really going to get out of here after this. And another thing, somebody just asked me something about campus weekend. Yes, there's campus weekend. I don't know which one you're going to. You're going to Queens. You're going to the Bronx. You coming to Jersey? Like, which one will I be? I'll be at the Jersey camp. Anyway, one other thing I gotta say. Do people understand, Christians? For any Christian that may watch this, you may know somebody that is a Christian that will watch this. Do people really understand the intent? You can hear me use that word a lot. The intent of the epistles of Paul. Do people really understand that? Christians, do they? No. Do Christians understand the intent of the letter and the epistles that Paul wrote to Timothy? No, they don't. They just know religion and they know theology, know what they learned in seminary school. That's what they know. So you have to help them with that too, right? There is an intent behind Paul's epistles. What do I mean by that? What are you talking about? Well, I've kind of touched on one of my Sabbath classes, but I'll touch on it briefly here. But I did it via PowerPoint to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. The epistles of Paul are such and so. You had bishops that were over these churches, right? And there'll be certain things that will be happening in these churches, certain questions that would arise, right? And these bishops would send Paul a letter, right? For instance, I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. 1 Corinthians chapter 7 starts off saying what? Now concerning the things that thou wrote unto me. Meaning what? Meaning that there was a letter that the Corinthians sent to Paul. We don't have that today. We don't have it. What we have is his correspondence back to the church. That's what we have. But clearly, they wrote to him. That's why it says in 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 1. The things that are written therein, in the book of Corinthians, are situations that were going on in that church, and Paul responding to them. That's what's going on. It was never meant to make a religion around it. The things that are written therein are for our learning, but it was never meant for you to make a religion around it. The same is true for the epistle that Paul wrote to the Ephesians. Right? See, what Paul did was he wrote Timothy first, because who is Timothy? Timothy was the first bishop of the church of Ephesus. It tells you that in 1 Timothy chapter 1, that when Paul was going to Macedonia, he left Timothy at Ephesus to put the church in order. So he instructed Timothy on how to deal with that church. And then he wrote the church a letter itself concerning the things that were going on in the church. That's the intent behind these things. It was never meant to make a religion out of it. Christians can't tell you these basic things. Just go to religion. And that's it. And this is why when they come on our stages, on Clubhouse and come in front of the camp, this is why they get chopped down every time. Because we ask them these questions. You're going to pull something out of Romans, the 2nd chapter. Do you know why the epistle, when was the epistle of Romans written? Let's start with that. Why was it written? And I had another Christian that told me, well, the people in the book of Romans was written to actual Romans. There were no Jews in the church at Rome. I said, are you sure? Yeah, there was no Jews in the church of Rome. So I took him to Romans chapter 16, where Paul is sending greetings and salutation to the people at the churches in Rome. And two of the people he mentions is Priscilla and Aquila. And we know Priscilla and Aquila were Jews because when you read the book of Acts, it tells you that the Jews were expelled out of Rome. And Priscilla and Aquila met up with Paul because they were expelled out of Rome because they were Jews. And they were in the church at Rome in Romans 16. I thought you said there were no Jews there. See, you just know theology, but you ain't actually reading, and you're not comprehending what you're reading, and you're not putting these letters and these epistles in the proper context. It was never meant for you to build a religion around it. You have to look at these epistles as these are things that were going on in these churches. These letters are proprietary to these churches. And you can learn something from reading these epistles and how Paul dealt with different situations in different churches. And you can apply that to your life today as an individual. Or if you have a camp, you apply it if those situations arise in your camp. You use that wisdom and apply it to yourself today. Understand it in its context. The letter of the Corinthians is to the Corinthians. To the Ephesians is to the Ephesians, and so forth and so on. Some letters were for more than one church, like the letter to the Colossians, right? When you read the last book of Colossians, it tells you that the church, the letter of Colossians should also be read in the church of Laodicea as well, which is one of the churches in Revelation. So that letter was intended for two audiences. These are basic things that Christians don't know, but want to come on the stage and argue with us. It's crazy. It's crazy. And this is why these guys take the oath. Like I said before, for those of y'all that just came, this one brother came to the stage and he told us that he took out an oath that it is his life's mission to destroy us. Christian. It is his life's mission to destroy us. That's what he said. And he said, everybody that's a part of his organization has to hate us. That's criteria number one. They should hate us as much as he does. That's what the Christian said on our stage. We laughed because it's crazy. And we also understand that that spirit that's on him that's supposed to be. That's how we know the Bible is true. So he's supposed to feel that. He's supposed to be feeling that heat, or else we wouldn't be doing our jobs if he didn't feel that passionately. He needed to destroy us, because we're taking their members, we're taking their women. When I say taking their women, I mean women are leaving. At first, like I said before, it was just the men that was really in this Israelite. The truth in '92, there weren't even 20 chairs on that side of the room at One West for women. There was like no sisters. Now some camps have more women than men, so the sisters are leaving too. All right. We're taking the young people. We're taking everybody. Well, Malone is finished, man. He finished a long time ago. That dude is somewhere in the freaking underworld, crypt somewhere, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Nobody really gets. Israelites are the ones that keep that dude relevant, because nobody really cares about the guy at all. Like, Christian people don't even respect him. James White rebuked that guy a few years ago. You don't respect that guy. He's a joke. I'm keeping a buck with you. He's a joke. And the difference is, unlike, no disrespect to the other camp, like if he comes in front of me, I already told him I don't like him. Because first of all, he's of another nation, and he knows this. So if he come before us, all the smiling I see other brothers do, I'm not smiling with him. I'm not. I take this real seriously. I take this BS that he's doing real serious. I'm not smiling with you. I'm not doing anything to you. But understand, you ain't gonna get no smiles from me. You ain't gonna get no laughs from me or nothing. Nothing. I'm saying, and especially since you were heathen on top of that. So lock it. With that being said, it's your brother Priest. See why the gym is open now. I'm gonna go outside and get some money. I appreciate you, brothers and sisters. One more time for those of y'all that are not aware, because I haven't really been active on this particular channel. You are more than free, more than welcome to join us every Saturday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time on our camp class page. We do a class every Saturday, 10:30 a.m. The page Lions of Israel class. All right. Once I'm done working out, I'll go get a link. I'll post it and pin it as one of the top comments under this video. So you guys, anybody want to come back later on, if you can't find a page, you can click that link. It'll take you to one of the lessons I've done. You can join us every Saturday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. Lions of Israel class. I've been active over there trying to build up that page because YouTube been giving me hell over here on this page. But once a few things with this page is straightened out, I'll be back to do videos actively on this page every day. And I'll do something for y'all. I know it's been a while. I know a lot of y'all told me y'all like when I used to do that stuff. So I'll try to do them a little more often. All right. I appreciate you, brothers and sisters. Thank y'all for listening. The last live I did like a week ago, YouTube removed it. You know what I'm saying? That's how they living. I didn't say nothing crazy, but they removed it because I said something about the bench, and I said something about the sickness that's going around. So, it is what it is. Once again, if you are in here, you've been listening to me dropping these jewels, and you have not hit the like button, you need to repent, believe the gospel, display the fruits of the Spirit, and show your brothers love. Brother Priest and represent Lions of Israel. Chest and leg day today, y'all. I'm about to go get it. Any of you brothers that been emailing me saying that you want to work out, this is what it is. 5 o'clock in the morning, and we're doing heavy legs. You know what I'm talking about? I'm out. Shalom.